Thought I would turn this on, try to do something semi-productive, because I felt like sharing just how I've been and just what's been going on here since the beginning of this war with Iran. And I'm very tired, I think is the underlying statement, and it's been exhausting. I'm in Jerusalem and we've had, I think I'm counting correctly, we've had 9 rounds of attacks from Iran. And the most recent one was at like 4 a.m., something like 4 a.m. or something. So basically, every night since Friday, I'm going to sleep around like 4 or 5 a.m. Last night it was around 5 a.m. And when you do go to sleep, you're just like, your phone is like right next to you, and you feel like you're just on guard the whole time, just waiting for another alert, another alarm. And I'm just like obsessively checking Telegram to see, just like what the updates are, what the interceptions were like. And it's just this like constant cycle. And today was the first time since it started when I woke up and I could just, I don't know, maybe it was yesterday, I'm like losing track now, but I woke up actually feeling how tense I am, and just like, I'm always kind of I'm always kind of tense, and like I clench my jaws, for example, like I have TMJ, like I'll like grind my teeth, and I have stuff like that anyway, but I just really felt it where I was just like literally just like almost just like holding your breath and just like very on guard. So that's how I've been feeling, and I'm just like, yeah, exhausted and tense, but not scared and not anxious. So, I feel very, I don't want to say good about the situation, but like I feel like I've been waiting for this shoe to drop, and I think a lot of Israelis are feeling this way, where we're glad that we're like doing something very proactive about getting rid of Iran's nuclear facilities, and actually taking action to protect ourselves. So like I feel actually just so much safer that we're doing this. And again, I think it's a like popular opinion. Like I think a lot of people are feeling like, great, we finally did it. So in that regard, I'm not feeling nervous or any of that. And also, like, I really trust our military, and we do such a good job. And yes, there have been some direct hits, there have been casualties, and all that, and I'm sure you guys have been seeing on the news. But relatively speaking, for the amount of missiles that actually come here, that like our ability to intercept them is incredible. So I have a lot of trust in the actual military defense systems. And then also I just have faith that we're protected, and I feel like it's almost like a visceral knowing. Like I'm so completely confident that this is something that, this is a spiritual warfare too. And I really just think about it like that. So in that sense, I'm not nervous or worried or anything. If anything, I'm like, I say this cautiously, but I'm kind of encouraged and even excited in a sense of, seeing things unfold from a spiritual perspective. So that kind of keeps me feeling positive about it. And again, I'm saying this carefully because I know that it's, not an all around positive situation, but seeing the silver lining is kind of my point. So with all that, at least I'm not scared, because I can't imagine going through what I'm going through now, which is just the sheer exhaustion, the physical tension. I mean, you're just naturally like, no matter how much emuna you have in the situation, like from a psychological and spiritual perspective, there's a natural fight or flight physiological response to being in war and having to go to your bomb shelter and hearing like loud booms around, and being woken up by the sirens and things like that. So anyway, I can't imagine how like terrible it would be to go through what I'm going through now, plus not have the spiritual faith in the situation, and actually just be scared of what's going on. And also for people who don't trust the government, which there are plenty of people who don't trust our government or our military, like I'm sure that's an incredibly terrifying situation to be in. So I'm grateful that at least I don't have that, and it's really just some of the inconveniences, if you want to call it that, of just literally living through the situation that I'm going through. So not to like minimize like how hard it is. Like today, not just today, like the last 2 days, really, we started this whole thing with Shabbat, but after Shabbat, and I was supposed to start working again on Sunday. Sunday is the start of our work week here. I've just been feeling like very stuck, and I don't know how to describe it, because again, it's not from anxiety, it's not from like fear or anything, but it's just I don't I don't know how to describe it, but I'm so just like in this war mode that I can't focus. I think that, yeah, that's the practical way to put it. I haven't been able to focus on anything. I literally only, I'm embarrassed to say, but I only now just did my dishes from Shabbat, like, which I left in the sink, which was so gross. But, I couldn't even get up to like do that. Well, this is more for practical reasons, but I like took a shower late at night, because even just something like that, where you're like, shoot, when do I take a shower? Because what happens if, you get the alarm and you're in the middle of a shower? So anyway, it's been hard to just do little things. So I've been kind of like zonked out, like just laying down, also just physically tired because I haven't been sleeping normally. I've been just like laying on the couch, laying in bed, just barely tidying up. Really like had a hard time even just cracking open my emails. Pushed a meeting that I had today, which I was really grateful that the client was okay with that, given the circumstances. I really couldn't snap out of it yet today. And I do thankfully have some work that it's like actually due tomorrow. So I'm actually glad I have that, because, forced me to just kind of bounce back and get back into life a little bit. I haven't been outside of my apartment, aside from like literally outside of my building. Like I haven't been walking around in streets or anything since Thursday. So that's not so healthy. And I think tomorrow I actually have to go to the pharmacy, and I want to go to the grocery store. Thankfully, my last video I did, I was streaming and showing you guys my grocery haul, which was actually in anticipation of a warfare scenario. So I was stocking up on water and toilet paper and stuff like that. So I have, I'm good on groceries, but I thought tomorrow I'd just get a few more things. So tomorrow my plan is just to like get out of the apartment for a little bit, just so I can like move my body and just feel a little bit more normal. And, like run a couple errands, maybe go to the WeWork to grab my computer. I have my laptop here, but at my actual computer, and just kind of like adjust to this being like a new normal, at least for the next week. I think schools are closed for one more week, and then after, it's at least one more week, maybe it's two, but I've got like at least another week of this, so I know I have to like snap out of it and be productive in terms of work. So I can't just like be in a funk for the whole, the entirety of this thing. So today I made like myself a little simple checklist of things I need to do today, just to like force myself to go through the checklist, and even like washing the dishes, or like, I don't know, like putting on makeup. Like I'm not wearing much now, but even just like feel a little more normal. So I feel like I'm just almost like the way when, I don't know, maybe it is kind of like a depression, but it's like I feel kind of depressed in a sense, where I'm just like a little checked out and having a hard time like focusing. So I'm also just like doing my nails, because that's just a practical thing that I was going to do anyway. So like this is an example of something I'm doing to just like be productive and not be sitting around, and then also turning on this stream. And I'm expecting it to just go on again like throughout the night. And yeah, I do feel safe though. And also, thankfully, like I think that Jerusalem is kind of the safer places, like one of the safer places, because out of the list that Iran published of like the places that they want to strike, it was like, Haifa port, Ben Gurion. There's like a gas reserve or something related to fuel in Ashkelon. So like they had like a list of I think 7 or 8 targets, and Jerusalem is not on there. And I think it's maybe also because it's just too close to Al-Aqsa, maybe because, and also like there's a lot of Arabs here. Maybe that's also why, but also maybe also like the fact that we're so heavenly, like heavenly, heavily and heavenly reinforced because of the Knesset and things like that being here. So maybe that's also why, but they haven't actually sought out to strike Jerusalem, Baruch Hashem, as of yet. So anything that kind of happens here, you do hear the booms overhead, but I think those are just like the interceptions of the missiles on their way to other targets. So that's been all right. And for me, maybe I shouldn't say worst case scenario, like not to say it out loud, but let's just say this isn't yet the worst case scenario of what I am anticipating, or at least just bracing myself for. So I think if my worst case scenario comes true, like then I would actually be afraid. But as long as it's sort of in, like this is sort of it more or less in terms of, like missiles and such, there's only so much you can do because you just go into the bomb shelter and you just kind of wait it out. So it's stressful, but I don't know. There's not much to do about it, I guess. What else? And I'm also grateful, very, very grateful that I happen to have a shelter that's like literally right outside my door, in my hallway. Like our building has a shelter in every hallway, and my door is actually like very close to it. So it takes me like no time to actually get to the shelter. And there are people from the neighborhood who don't have shelters that actually come to our building. So I'm sure that's a lot more stressful if you actually, have to get yourself to a shelter that's not near your home. So that's one less thing for me to, have to manage. And I'm also like, so crazy, right? Like very recently, I decided to invest in some like protective equipment, like for nuclear attacks, radiological, like CBRN attacks. So I actually invested quite a bit of money in like getting some serious supplies, and like military grade gas masks, filters, like a lot of special equipment, like for radioactive, nuclear, biological, chemical attacks. And the shipping updates were like a week away from arriving, and obviously now because of the situation on the air, like it's not going to be coming even in a week. But I just kind of keep kicking myself thinking like, man, if I had just ordered that stuff like 1 week earlier, I would have had all my protective gear. So hopefully I won't need it ever in general, but maybe there's a situation where we'll have like a lull, or this like wave of the war will pass, and then flights and mail will come back online, and I'll get my equipment, and then maybe we'll need it again. I don't know, but I just keep thinking about that in the back of my mind, because I would have felt that much better if I had all that equipment with me. So other than that, though, I do feel pretty prepared. I have a lot, like I'm a pretty prepper type of person, so like I have a lot of things prepped, and even just psychologically I think I'm in good shape in terms of that stuff. And even when I go to my shelter, I have like a backpack, like my little bug out bag with like all my stuff in it. So I'll actually, even though it's right outside my door, just in case something happens, because you see like the pictures of homes and like buildings that are destroyed, not even by direct hit, but when they get destroyed and people are safe in the mamad, like the building's completely wrecked. So I basically bring stuff with me into the shelter that if something happened to my home and it all exploded, at least I have those things. So although something I do want to do that I haven't done with my prep yet is I wanted to print photocopies of all my documents too, just to have extra copies. But that's something I can maybe do this week. Oh, I'm just looking at your messages now. Hi, everyone. Elena says, why don't you have that much viewers? Because I'm a small channel. I'm glad you're safe. Thank you. Ibrahim said, hi, wish you the best. Your hair is cute. What products do you use? Thank you. Use Olaplex and Moroccan oil. why what's happening there. Lindsay Adams, hi. Hi, Meorah. I've been thinking of you, davening. Oh, it's nice to see you, Lindsay. Moshe Herschel David, hi. Sister, hey. Oh, it's nice. Nice to see you guys. Hashem is your again. Yes. Yeah, I really feel that. I feel, and especially, like, I don't know, especially being here in Jerusalem, you just, I feel safe. And you know, safe as you can be. And I have to say, even it's like, especially in this situation, and this was my paranoia during this entire war. I haven't been back to the States. I haven't been out of the country since like the beginning of the Gaza war. And I had this paranoia like a crazy lady, which now I feel very validated in, unfortunately. But I had this total paranoia, like, what if I leave the country and then God forbid something happens and I can't come back into Israel? Like that would like really be like, that would be so disappointing to me. It would make me on very many levels, but basically like that's, you know, it just shows like it could happen. And, you know, like I could have been in America right now visiting family, you know, it's summer and stuff. And if I was one of those people who like right now, like they want, I think there's like 150,000 Israelis that are just like vacationing or just outside of the country right now, and now they can't return home, like that would be devastating to me. So like, even though we are in this like crisis scenario, you know, I'm sure all those people want to be home and actually come back here to Israel. Because I have to say, I would always feel safer being here in Israel than to be outside of it. Not only like in this war scenario, but especially in this war scenario, as like crazy as and like counterintuitive as that may seem. You know, whenever I see really big stuff like this happening, I'm always thinking about like the final war. I'm thinking about like end of days, like my brain just goes there. And for me to be far apart from my country, like during that kind of upheaval, during this kind of pivot point, like I just don't want to be apart from it. So I'm really glad that I'm here. And even now, like if they tried to, like if they gave us the option to evacuate, which like the American embassy was evacuating people at the beginning of the Hamas war, I think like right after October 7th, they had some ships or something go like leaving. You know, I wouldn't do it. I'm really glad to be here, and I want to stay put. But I mean, there would be certain situations like that I would evacuate if it was literally to save my life kind of thing, but I don't feel like we're at that point yet, so I'm staying put. Not that we have a choice right now anyway, because I think all the I think they evacuated all of our planes outside of the country even, just to protect the planes. So we are locked in here for this. Hi, Cedric. Hi, Sari Shepherd. My mom tells me she's so glad I'm not in Israel anymore. I always say I wish I was there, and the shame of not being there with my comrades and people sharing that experience. Yeah, sorry, comrades. It's like there's a real camaraderie of going through going through war with people, you know. But I think everyone feels that regardless. Like I think every Jew feels that regardless of whether or not they're in Israel now. And I actually think like from what I've noticed in the last couple years, almost couple years now, the Hamas war, is that people in the diaspora seem like even more engaged with the war because of the fact that they're outside of it. So there is that special connection. It's sort of like how you connect to us here too, by supporting us and being informed. So there's a lot of that. And it's 8 o'clock, and it feels like they just intentionally pick the most inconvenient, obnoxious hours to strike us, just like for that little added psychological effect. And I wonder if that's actually why. But I mean, it does wear on a country to, you know, disrupt, you know, during the evening hours. Although I think yesterday we had a daytime. I think we had a daytime attack. Losing track now, that's been so many, which is nuts. Hi, Shanky. Shanky. Nice to see you. So I've just been basically going on Telegram. I have like maybe like 5 different channels that I'll look at. And I'm just like refreshing and like looking at all the updates. And then I'll see if there's any more like news and like actual news and commentary on YouTube, but I haven't seen that much stuff like up to date as much on YouTube in English. And then I'll start doom scrolling on Instagram, just like to zonk myself out and just escape for a little bit. And then I've just been like in a cycle of doing that. It's been a vicious cycle. But I need to cut it now. Like I said, I have to snap back and be productive, especially tomorrow. So I think that's good to have outside responsibilities, like having to, you know, do something for my clients. That's probably makes it easier in a way. Like I'm sure it's like harder in a lot of ways for parents to be going through this and having to like be brave and strong, and like their kids are all, you know, young and they have to kind of make things feel normal, but it's probably nice for them because they have to do that. Like I think maybe being here, like I'm just here by myself, I don't have roommates or anything too. Like I'm not responsible to anyone, so I can just get away with just zonking out and like laying on the couch all day, which is actually not so good. So it's good for me to have like something like an outside responsibility to stop me from that vicious cycle. I guess it's kind of like life in general, not just pertaining to this situation. Cedric says, I scroll all news and updates from AliExpress. Yeah, that's one of my go-tos. I'm in gear process at the moment, but cannot disconnect from the news feed. Yeah, mine's AliExpress, Israel Hayom, Jerusalem Post. I don't know if I have Times of Israel on there. I-24. And then I also subscribe to this like kind of wonky one, and I think it's kind of like anti-Israel, but it has like I like to see that point of view on the you know, like going around too. But it's this one called End Time Report. So that one's actually a good one to just kind of see what people are seeing on the other side, and then they'll also have some updates on like other countries. But you know, lately it's just us. We survived for 3,500 plus years. God keep us safe by giving the defense forces the abilities to defend. Amen. Please stay, Naomi says, please stay safe, Meorah. I will pray for you. Distracting yourself is a healthy strategy to a point, but after that, I believe work will help too. Yes, definitely. And thank you for your prayers. It's very nice of you. And you're a cute emoji. Manny, hi. Ay, how long will this go on for? And I hope very much that we see it to its natural, full conclusion. For the sake of the Iranian people too. And I saw something about how like Iran was sending out notices to news outlets that they want to resume discussions and like want a ceasefire or something like that. And then I saw something, I think on Telegram, about how that was just sort of like a decoy and that they're not really being earnest about it. At this point, like I just wouldn't trust any supposed like move for peace like from Iran. Like I really wouldn't trust it. So I hope we don't do that. And like I hope we don't trust them like that. I don't think we will, but I don't know. Hello from Brazil. Nice to see someone from Brazil. Cedric says, sometimes I just get upset and troll anti-Israel and confront them just to ruin the great Judeophobic unanimousness. That's funny. Actually, another channel I subscribe to on the other side that I actually find fascinating is called Muslim Central. They probably have other socials too, but I watch them on YouTube, and it's really interesting to see what they're saying. And also, like, when you watch those things, it's like I try to watch it from the vantage point of someone who's like not really bought into it per se, but someone who's open-minded to like be convinced by their points, so that I can see like how compelling are they making what seem like valid points. Like, I think it's really important to really listen to the other side, and to assess, like, just what is the real conversation going on, not like what the other side is saying to us, but what they're saying to their own is really, I think it's important to kind of be on the pulse of that too. So it's always fascinating. Once in a while, I'll listen to, I haven't done this in a while, but once in a while I'll listen to imams, like, giving their like shirim and, like, for whatever, like, and just the way they talk and what they're talking about. And I don't know, it's very interesting. And even when they're not talking about us and like Israel and Jews and all that, just really, it's interesting because, there are also some synergies between Islam. We're cousins, and there are a lot of beautiful things about, I think, about all faiths, but it's just really interesting to listen to some of their shiurs. And, all the more so when they're really, saying very insightful, crazy things. But yeah, I think it's important to hear the other side. One of my favorite quotes is this, from Ryan Holiday. He says, read like you're in the enemy's camp. Read like you're a spy in the enemy's camp, meaning to also read and learn from the other side, like as though you're a spy. So you can like understand how they think and they function. And actually, I recently got a copy, finally, I've been wanting to read this for a long time, but I got a copy of The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and it's really interesting to read it, to understand how the Chinese think in terms of military strategy. And it's very scary when you read it like that, because I think the Chinese have some very clever, like, yeah, they can be clever and very sneaky, I think is sort of an underlying word. Is kind of like, yeah, their MO. So trying to learn more about how the other sides are thinking strategically. Dee says, okay, so how are you? I'm very tired. I'm very tired. Hi, Shivam. The quiet American. Chazak uv barach. Why can't I read that? Shalom, Meorah. Hi, Forrest. How did you find the imams? I think just like the same way I would find a Jewish rabbi, if just Google, like, search stuff on YouTube. And then YouTube will recommend stuff. I don't have any specific one. Actually, there was one that I was learning some stuff from, like, like I listened to many of them. There was one that I actually liked, and I thought he was a really great teacher, and he was like saying very nice stuff, like more universal stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I never really followed anyone like ongoing. Jews, Christians, and Muslims will go to paradise together. Islam is very similar to Judaism in many aspects. Yes. I've said this before. I feel closer to Muslims than I do to Christians. Yeah, I feel closer to them. And, you know, not that I'm like, there still is a very unfamiliar, like, a very unfamiliar feeling, just because I only have so much exposure to Islam and to the Muslims and, yeah, to people who are Muslim, but ideologically, theologically, I think we're more aligned because we're still monotheists, and I don't hold that Christians are monotheist, even though I know that they believe that they are. But no, I don't think so. You're too much MS, you're like incorruptible. DVD. Hi Tarun from India. You're tiring, no content but parroting. Namaste. I am Muslim, but I was born in Germany, so I grew up in a Christian country. I have a lot of Christian friends since I grew up. Don't know Muslims say they are Muslims say they are monotheistic, but if someone comments negatively on their prophet, they want blood. Sometimes I feel they are monotheistic, but their God is Muhammad. Yeah, look, I could see that, but you know, the other thing too, no, I won't say that. I won't say it. But in the core, like the essential idea of Islam, of course, is monotheistic. But it's also interesting how Muslims believe in, like, I think Moshe Rabbeinu is their prophet too, and so is Jesus. So like the crossover to me is really fascinating, and I'd like to learn more about that, like how Islam like the intersection of Islam with Christianity and Judaism. It's pretty interesting to me. There's some happy synergy underneath the surface of all three of them. I think at the end of the day, at the end of time, there will be a beautiful synergy, and we'll like see behind the curtain and we'll all have a good laugh. I think, hopefully, and we'll realize that we're all like talking about the same thing and just using different words. Hopefully, something like that. I think that's kind of like a loose, you know, very loose way what will happen at the end of time, including with other traditions too that are non-monotheistic. I think somehow it's all going to make sense together, and that will be like the big aha, the big beautiful reveal, including evil, like including things that we deem as evil. I think we'll all see it woven in this like shocking way. That'll be the delightful surprise at the end. Line, Islam was revealed because the first religions were changed by mankind. Hi, Dr. Popeye. As a German, I believe everyone should be free to follow their religion in Germany, even if I disagree that the religion is true. Do you actually know how you pray? Like, do you actually know what we say? I didn't even know that we mention Prophet Ibrahim in every prayer as well. I've never heard of the Prophet Ibrahim. Is that Abraham? Or is Ibrahim Abraham? I know we have some German. What else is really creepy about this whole situation, like, of this whole experience rather, is the sound of the alerts, the alarms. They're just so eerie. Like, even there's like aside from the actual sound of the siren, which is so creepy, there's like this pre-alert warning from our phones, and it's like dun, 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 and it's just such a freaky sound. It's like, sounds like something out of a horror film. Yeah, it gets your attention, it gets the job done, and I guess it wouldn't be appropriate if they used like a cute little bell or something, but it just adds to the tension of it, of the situation. Especially like in the middle of the night when you hear the dun, 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 it's like just creepy. Creepy, creepy. I feel a little better that I'm like fixing my nails, because like I was doing this for like I just wasn't finishing this yesterday, and then just feel a little alive, like doing physical things. And I think the rest of I'm gonna clean the rest of my kitchen, just my countertops and stuff. I have a few more dishes to do from dinner. I'm gonna clean my table here because it's like all my nail polish and stuff out. And I'm just gonna have everything like super clean, like Shabbat level clean, so that tomorrow I wake up hopefully in a normal time, and then I just feel like ready to sit down and just plug away at work. That's the plan. I need to get out of this like funk and this like, yeah, just this stale energy. I need to just move the energy in here. Maybe I'll light some candles too. I'm gonna light some candles, and maybe I'll call a friend or something, or I don't know, do something else. I don't feel ready to do my work yet. I don't know if I'll crack it open today or not. Thankfully, it's fun stuff. It's graphic design, so it's something I really enjoy doing. It's like once I start, I'll be in the zone. But I just feel a little like crippled, like, and like stuck. Yeah, I still feel a little too stuck to get into that stuff. Yeah, I think today I just need to organize my space so I feel like things are just in order, and then I can just manage my own energy and instead of the energy around me. That's my strategy for the rest of the night. And I'll probably be up until like 3. Also because my whole sleep cycle is just crazy now. I'll probably be up all night and sleep late. But maybe not. Maybe I'll have like some sleepy tea with valerian, something like that. Hope you have a mamad in your home. I have one right like in my hallway, so I do have one. It's essentially like in my home. It's right out the door, so that's good. Ayam kelwa. Cedric says, if you have time, what has been the easiest during your gear? What do you mean, what has been the easiest? It's a very open-ended question. Like easiest part of the process, or not really sure. Make a house tour. Oh my goodness, it's too messy right now. It's not that bad, but it's, let me flip you around. See, like I have stuff all over in like my, you know, just things laying around. My counters are just like open because it's in the middle of putting stuff away. It's not in order, and I need just a little order. So it's not in good shape right now. Hi, Atlantic Shield. So nice to see you. Cedric, for me, mastering and memorizing the entire concepts for each celebration is tough. but the easy thing is Hebrew lessons. I love it. Oh, okay. That's nice. What was the easier stuff? I don't know. Like I feel like there was like it's hard to say in terms of hard or easy. Um my process is so long and dragged out that it's hard to kind of pinpoint it in that way, I guess, for me. The hardest part was feeling part of the community. And the easy stuff was all the other practical stuff because I was like hungry for it and I just wanted to learn and like actually do everything. So it came very naturally in terms of wanting to learn stuff so that I could actually apply it. Like nothing ever felt like I was learning it just so I can have the answer for a test. It felt like I was like genuinely learning it because I wanted it and needed it. So in that sense, all of those things, I guess, came easier to me because it didn't feel forced. I think that's probably a good way to look at it. Yeah. Hey, I'm from South Africa. Beal, Jim, thank you. Glad you're okay, he says. We have a whole back and forth about Islam going on here, and I hate to disrupt it because I'm sure it's an interesting conversation. I haven't been tuning in too much, but I'm gonna cut this off now because I'm gonna get back to tidying up my space and just preparing for the night ahead, which hopefully is nothing, but probably will be something. So I'm gonna get myself back into into war mode and just, I don't know, prepare. Okay, subscribe to you so I can come here next time. Thanks, Lola. Nice to see you. Have you been to Sfat? Moshe says, yes, I have, and I loved it. And I've only been once. Are you often live? I think I've been doing live more than real videos for quite a while now, but I took like a long break and then, you know, I did it a few days ago and now I'm back. So I don't know. I think I probably will be doing more lives because it's just fun for me and I'm probably bored and feeling like I need some kind of outlet right now. So it was nice. I'm glad I was able to spend this time with you guys. So thanks for hopping on and keeping me company during this interesting time in our lives. And I hope we'll see each other again soon. And yeah, good night, guys. Bye-bye.